Oh.
Thought I had a little book.
One job.
Yeah, yeah.
kidding.
What a letdown already. 2 down.
No.
You haven't seen our underwear yet. You never know.
Those are blue too? He's Aquaman.
Well, welcome to the WishBus. And are you guys, is this your first time to the film festival, or what's the dealio?
Yeah, I mean, certainly my first time, and anyone else been here before?
First time.
Yeah, I think we've,
We're all newbies.
First time.
Sydney?
Third time to this theater, though, this month, but that's another.
Oh, okay. Well, Sydney,
Not my first time.
we knew that. What I would like to know is why you're bringing all these first times.
Hey, they got to learn some way.
Oh, I guess you need.
This is our first season.
Okay.
We're on History Channel. It is a hour drama, scripted drama from Robert Zemeckis. This is our creator, David O'Leary. It is based on an actual Air Force program that studied UFOs in the 50s.
Oh, okay.
And we take real life cases. There were 12,000 cases of sightings of UFOs, 700 of which were never identified. And we have a dramatic reenactment, would you say, of the cases. We star Aidan Gillen.
Okay.
What's his partner's name?
I forget.
Who is that? This guy. Michael Malarkey.
Thank you.
Michael Malarkey.
I know it's been a long ride.
Yes, exactly. Michael Harney as well. And we're Tuesday nights, 10 o'clock on History Channel. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Google Play. I don't think we still have our first episode up on YouTube right now, but you can pretty much find us everywhere.
That's true.
Anyway, I guess the Raw Science Film Festival suits you guys perfectly. Are you guys planning on sending in a video, I guess?
We're actually doing
For
a
the-
panel very shortly. Yeah, so
Oh.
we're going to have a little sneak peek of our next episode coming up Tuesday. We are actually also the #1 new scripted cable show on television right now.
Congratulations.
So we are building our audience, and very excited to be here. We all very much walk the walk in terms of the science fiction genre. All of us here are not only fans but believers in the UFO phenomenon as well, which is why I think we look as happy as we do. No, I think we're a little, okay.
Are you sure it's not a little more than just science?
I'm going to let David in.
Well, I mean, I think here's what fans should know about the show is it's all rooted in real life UFO cases from the 1950s
Right.
and 60s. So that's like something that I want to make sure that everybody knows that, like, yes, we definitely dramatize and play with all that kind of stuff, but it is rooted in real life cases that we explore every week, and we are believers due to evidence. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And I invite everybody listening out there to check the show out and keep an open mind and then do their own homework and looking at some of the cases we explore, because they're it's a fascinating subject matter.
So how detailed do these cases get? Because you did say that they're from the 50s, 60s. How detailed are those cases? Or do you guys...
Oh, I mean, very detailed. I mean, we go back, we look at the real life Project Blue Book files. We go back, we interviewed, the authentic people who were really involved in the project. I mean, we try to root it all as best we can in the science and in the history that was really there.
It's all based on the actual case files. So we take all the events that happened. I can say, like, the first few cases, we have the the Gorman dog fight. We have the Lubbock Lights.
Flatwoods
we have the
Monster.
Flatwoods Monster. Coming up, we have the Operation Paperclip that happened out in Alabama. So we take all the facts that are there, we dramatize them, and give you just enough information to go, oh my God, this really happened. You can go online afterwards or do the research and find out all about it, and then we dramatize it as well.
A lot of people will be able to relate more seeing it actually acted out instead of just reading it out, because some people don't have the whole...
Yeah, well, I think
let's
it's
let our actors handle that
Well,
one.
no, I think it's a way to encourage more investigation of it, especially from a broader crowd. Not everyone's going to sit through and read the declassified Project Blue Book files. In fact, few people are, except the people who are really invested already. But this is a way to encourage people to think more openly about this. And I mean, I went into this not as a non-believer, but not as a diehard believer either. I just hadn't thought one way or another about it. And having done this research and seen all the things I've seen and witness interviews, NASA footage, NSA documents, you can't help but you can't disregard it. It's legitimately something that's been covered up since this time, and there have been things in our skies that are intelligent. So that's from where I'm standing. That's my opinion, and I think people who do the research won't be able to help but feel similarly. IMO.
Yeah. Well said, sir.
Was it?
It was.
Cool. Right on.
And a little input, because these are very, should I say youthful?
Yeah.
Should I be nice
Sure.
like that?
You can be sure. Kindness gets you a long way.
He
I was gonna say, how about for our youngest?
He really appreciates that. No.
How does it feel? Did you join the Project Blue Book as someone who was a believer already, or did you have a little bit of your own, I don't know if this is actually a real thing. How did you join the Project Blue Book?
I've been believing for a long time, probably better part of 40 years. So it was not a stretch for me. What was a great experience for me was going down a rabbit hole with researching and watching a lot of footage and a lot of interviews and hearing people talk about their experiences with UFOs and extraterrestrials. And that was just an amazing, it was a deepening of what I already believed.
I don't have a question, but I've been learning a lot from you gentlemen, and I thank you guys for coming out here. Your team is actually saying we got to wrap it up, so unfortunately, I would like to hear more.
Sure.
Me too.
But maybe
I saw
we'll
this
hear
whole
more up
thing
there.
going.
I think what we'll say is we encourage audiences to check out the show. There's all kinds of research on history.com to support what we're talking about, which I encourage audiences to check out as well. So, tune in, check it out, and hopefully keep an open mind and,
It's
a great ride.
It's Robert Zemeckis, and
Yeah.
the look is incredible.
Yeah.
He did Back to the Future, Contact, etc., and it's a period drama piece and a noir thriller all wrapped up in a bow. It's really great TV.
And you guys said this was on history?
On history.
All right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I have a question about that. So you joined the Supremes in the 70s.
Yes.
And of course, they started having hit records around 1964.
Yes.
So around the 60s, when you were aware of the Supremes,
Yes.
did you ever think, I would love to be? Did you have that dream or
Well,
that fantasy that you would end up being a Supreme?
I don't know that I had it as a fantasy. You know, the thing about the Supremes, for me, growing up in New York, was there was someone for everyone. So you could be Diana, or you could be Florence, or you could be Mary,
Right.
And we thought about it from time to time.
Right.
I'm in the show business all my life. So, it was, I don't know that I specifically thought about it, but I sure loved it.
I'm thinking maybe you were home watching Ed Sullivan and you
Yes.
thought, I'm going to be.
I'm gonna be. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the tea.
That's right. That's right.
And when you got the call to be in the Supremes, can you describe that?
Of course. My mother, who was just the most unlikely woman, because she could come up with these impossible things, you see. And she was on the board of the executive board of the NAACP, Beverly Hills. And Bob Jones was in charge of publicity at Motown, asked her if I would be interested. And of course, at that time, I was with Stevie Wonder, Wonder Love. And we had written I Can't Help It for Off the Wall, which wound up on Off the Wall, and helped to change popular music, that record, But I'll never forget, she said, how would you like to be one of the Supremes? And I thought, well, never done that before. And it sounds like fun. And it was very different from Wonder Love. Stevie Wonder, of course, we all know and love. And he's just this genius, marvelous, prolific artist whom I was lucky enough to write songs with, and still working on things with him, But Wonder Love was the best band in the world. I swear. They were just phenomenal musicians. So to go from where you had total freedom, because we wrote songs, I wrote Free there with Denise Williams while I was in Wonderlove. And later, when I actually got the call and said, they were going to come and talk to me in a long, white Mercedes limousine pulled up to Wonderlove rehearsal with blacked-out windows, which had belonged to George Harrison, the Beatles. And I got in that car and left. And the rest was history, It was tremendous. It really was.
That was great. You mentioned the song you wrote for Michael Jackson.
Sure.
When you wrote it, did you write it for Michael, or did you write it and then Michael got the song?
Well, it was actually written for Songs in the Key of Life. Steve talked about that a little bit when we did Spike Lee's film on Michael Jackson from Motown to Off the Wall. And he said he had written it for himself, So I can remember when we wrote it. I can remember exactly, he's so prolific. I don't know another writer, maybe one, who writes all the time like that and of that quality. But he came to me with this, and he kind of bounces and he mumbles through it and everything. And I promise you, the lyrics just came immediately. And that happens very rarely. But when it does, it's something special. And I feel it's God-given, when that happens.
So it was written for Stevie. When you first heard Michael's version, what did you think?
Oh, heaven. But see, he said that Renee Hardaway, his sister, knew Mike. She was very good friends with Michael. They had grown up, their families. And she suggested to him that he give it to Michael. And he, he was kind of for a minute, but I like this song, And I think he thought about it. And I was actually they had a remote studio that was just outside of his recording studio on Western. And Michael came in. I was in there alone listening to Songs in the Key of Life. Michael came in and sat about as far from, maybe a little closer, where you are right now. And he was just the shyest guy. We sat in there listening to that album for 2 hours. We said maybe 4 words. He said to me, I remember he said, "Are you Miss Green's daughter?" And I'm like, "Mom," because my mom taught LaToya, got Janet ready to record. And she would go to their house, and I'd go every once in a while, and they'd be hiding behind doors. Michael was always hiding behind the door. So incredibly shy. And, of course, the music was so loud and powerful, it wasn't very easy to speak. But it was a moment. I've thought 1,000 times of things I might have said and didn't. But that's life, It was wonderful. Just we'd look at you, couldn't believe, it was such a tremendous album. And for the chance to hear it before it was even out, just died off. But when his came out, they were all, excuse me for screaming. I was just thrilled.
Sure.
It was the one sort of adult song, really, if you think about it, on that album. The others were kind of on the way there. It was his really defining his adulthood as a performer. And Off the Wall was slightly jazzy, and yet it had this strong, memorable hook, and that's the key.
Oh, great album. You were part of it.
Yes, indeed. I'm very proud of that.
So, I don't mean to monopolize.
Oh, no. It's very interesting. But I do have a question before you ask you next. Since we are here for the Raw Science Film Festival, I would just like to know, is there anything in particular that you'd like to take away from the film festival? Like earlier, Spencer said he came as a sponge to absorb anything that he'll be able to learn. Was there anything in particular that you had?
Well, of course. This is my 3rd year as a judge for the Raw Science Film Festival. Okay. And Keri, who is just pure genius, who created the festival, absolutely, just the most wonderful, focused young woman, invited me. I met her through the Google Lunar X Prize, which was a $30 million competition, for whoever could get to the moon privately funded, would get build and design a rover, put it on the moon, have it go 500 yards, and then shoot this film back to America and the world, and from everywhere. Everyone that was involved, they were from around the world. So through them, because I was an advisor for Plan B, for Team Plan B, who were from Canada in the Google Lunar X Prize. They introduced me to Keri, basically, and she asked me to become involved in the Raw Science Film Festival. And it's just the most phenomenal event. I'm just so proud of the young filmmakers, some, of every age, really. But to see a place where they can, share these films, which are innovative, which are so creative, and to do it, in this kind of an atmosphere where they can be associated with astrophysicists and the science community, where they can meet cosmonauts and astronauts and just literally space scientists of such renown. Kip Thorne, who won the Nobel Prize last year for gravitational waves. Oh my goodness. To be in that rarefied atmosphere is tremendous, not just for the people in the, in the event, but for everyone around the world. And Keri started as a ballet dancer. And I mean, a brilliant ballet dancer who decided at a certain point that she was going to go back to school and study engineering and work on things like heart valves and stuff. She's brilliant. And to do that and realize the need for, let's say, a cohesion of science and art. Well, I'm as happy as a clam. I really am. It's just a wonderful idea. And to know that next year, fingers crossed, everybody's interested. The Oscars, Sundance, it's the kind of a thing that if you have an opportunity in our times, which are rife with wonderful innovations and technology, and to see the brilliance of what is coming out of the world, to see and to inspire young people, there's nothing quite like that. I'm very, very proud of the Raw Science Film Festival, and just to be around and see, what's going on. All these films, which are on filmfreeway.com. If you get a chance after the film festival to see them, some are 1 minute, some are 10, some are half an hour, some are full-length feature films, and they're lauded in the way that this moment, last year, the Afghan robotics team, the girls' Afghan robotics team, came to America, won an award, and one of the young ladies lost her father because of it by the Taliban. Very serious. For them, just to be able to go to school at all is a miracle. But because of them winning this robotics competition, which they made their robot from household goods, that's the kind of thing that lifts you up and inspires you beyond. And because they won, girls in Afghanistan now they're building a school for science for girls. You can't beat that. It makes me want to cry. You can't beat it. And girls around the world need the kind of support that something that is a public event and is a huge thing can inspire them to do something for their next generation. I love it. What can I say?
I like that too. Especially for little girls in other countries where education is not something girls are have access to, right?
That's right.
It's very inspiring to hear that an event like this could cause such change like that.
Oh, it's fabulous.
There's more coming. Keri has some announcements to make. She'll be making today.
Oh,
yes.
Exciting and inspiring to hear you say that.
Thank you. I'm so inspired. I'm inspired by so many things. Life is so precious, and we live in such strange times. I'm the National Director for Film, Music, and the Arts for the Peace Prize Foundation. And it is such an honor to be alive right now and see how we can make whatever is impossible or is perceived as impossible possible. We can do great things, humanity. And I honestly believe that if there is a great investment to be made in the world, it's in women. Because women, without women, what have you got? You got nothing. You got just men.
So,
no offense.
Are you ready for You ready for a female president? Because I am.
I think it can happen.
Yeah?
You know, I don't
I
know
hope so.
whom. I don't know whom.
I think the next one will.
Well,
I think
we
so.
just, we keep our fingers crossed and see if we can make it through this
Right.
president.
Year and a half.
You're looking forward to in particular?
Just actually, I would love to meet the founder of it because SUSAYE was telling me about,
Yes.
and I think it's a fantastic idea. So I actually can't wait to get more immersed in it
Right.
and find out more. So next year when we're sitting here, I can tell you more about what I thought, but I'm very excited to learn.
What you'd like to do?
I will give one shout out. I have a new book out,
Okay.
and it's a history of a group that SUSAYE knows well, and of course Sydney knows this group. It's a 50-year history of the Jackson 5.
Wow.
It's called The Jackson's Legacy. And if you're a
Okay.
fan of the group,
Yes.
this was done with the family, with
Oh.
the brothers, with Jackie and Tito and Marlon.
Right.
It's their book, and I was brought in to write it. So if you love the Jacksons, I
And
think you'll
where
love the
can we
book.
find this book?
Well, it's on Amazon and
Okay.
probably
Are they going to
bookstores.
be in the
yes.
bookstores? Okay.
They are. They are. in
All right.
bookstores.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
I'm in the midst of people who are awesome.
Awesome
with you.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hopefully you guys have a
Pleasure.
wonderful time. As I seem it does happen to be an awesome time every time. So again, thank you so much for joining us on the WishBus.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Deej.
Thanks for having us.
you're very welcome. And
Can I just say one thing? We try to be very conscious of all of our people online.
Yes.
And you can find me on Twitter, SUSAYE at SUSAYE, SUSAYE. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. And I love to meet people. I love to talk to people. And it has made it possible, really, to reach the world. So we're very happy about that. And thanks for having us. We really appreciate it.
no, thank you for joining.
Oh,